Hello dear ones, Doris Victoria here again. So I promised you I'm gonna dedicate this video. Life is about a spiral. Life doesn't repeat itself, it's a spiral. I wanted to dedicate it to anxious and avoidant attachment styles. So for those of you who feel that there's something for you, listen to this. Otherwise, just go back to the main video that I just mentioned. But here's what I wanted to share when it comes to anxious and avoidant attachment styles. So for example, I have been anxiously attached. And I told you that both avoidant and anxious attachment style are insecure attachment styles. People who, as for anxious attachment styles, we often lack a sense of self. We have no boundaries because our boundaries were diminished when we were children. Our sense of self is lacking because nothing we did was ever good enough, or you were just basically ignored. Your parents were not emotionally involved with you. Avoidant attached is the same. It's kind of like emotional abandonment, but oftentimes there's also an over interest in the child's life, so much so that it invades the privacy of this child's life. And so oftentimes this is why we have anxious and avoidant attachment styles. Of course, both have to do with abandonment. I talked about it in my main video. But what I want to share with you today is that, so for me, my personal example, and as I said, I wanted to dedicate this to a dear friend of mine and a client who yesterday said she was avoidant attached, and she was always, so you know about the dynamics of avoidant and anxious attached style, and that's that avoidant attached people often attract anxiously attached people, because those two are just, anxiously attached, they would be clinging. Avoidant attached would at one point abandon the other. So it's kind of like, it's like a toxic dynamic, but it is seen very, very often, even though in marriages, even though in couples that I coached. So it is very, very common, this pattern still, if we don't work on it, if we don't become aware of it. So oftentimes anxiously attached people attract avoidant attached people, and avoidant attached people attract anxious attached people. So this friend and client of mine, she said, she realized that she was avoidant and she had again attracted an anxiously attached man in her life. And she was like, I thought I healed it. Why is it coming back to me? And this is what I want to say here again. And the same for me, because I have, as I said, I was anxiously attached. And I used to attract avoidant attached men in life. Men that would ignore my emotions just because it was when I was a child. And yet what I was wishing for most is a man that would accept and honor and listen to my emotions and be mature enough and able to handle them without taking them personal. Because nothing is personal. Every emotion that we are having is in first place part of ourselves. It is never, the other person is never the reason for emotions that we are having. And you know this, for those of us who have done the inner work, we are very well aware. But then there's people who didn't do the inner work, and they would still blame the others. Oh, you are responsible that I'm angry, or you are responsible for my misery, or whatever it was. That's how it was in my childhood. I was the black sheep in the family. I was always being made responsible for anything that could have gone wrong. So my sense of self was struggling. And so because I became anxiously attached, I was clinging to the people that mistreated me. Because for me, apparently, it was better to be with toxic people than to be alone. That was, in a way, my own personal pattern. And then it might be different for avoidant attached people again. And so I used to attract men that kind of like mirrored my mother in a way. They left me alone when I needed emotional support. And so it was still me. It felt so familiar to me that most of us, we don't realize it feels familiar. And because we don't know that our birthright is to be happy, we continue with the pattern until the day comes that we are like, no, now I'm done with this. I deserve better, and I'm going to do the inner work. I'm going to accept myself. I'm going to observe myself, and whenever something is coming up, I'm going to deal with it in a different way, because now I have the maturity to look at it from higher orbits, as I already said in my main video. So this is what I wanted to say about anxious or attached. If you are insecure attached, if you have one of those two attachment style, anxious or avoidant, do not be insecure, do not be confused that things will happen to you again, that you might attract the same men, like I still do. But I immediately become aware, oh wait, this is a familiar pattern, I know it. And then I'm starting to speak up for myself. And so you can take the choice to speak up for your needs and share them with the other person. And if they are met with love and understanding and they're respected, meaning that the other person wouldn't repeat the same things to you, then it is worth a shot. You might go on with this person. However, if you're still not able to voice your needs or to share what hurt you, or for the other person not to respect your boundaries, meaning that the other person continues to treat you in a bad way, even though you told them that this is hurting to you, then you might make a choice. Okay, this is no longer for me. It was nice. I wish you the best, but I choose to walk my path without you. And that can be hard, you know. Aloneness can be hard, or all oneness can be hard, especially for us old souls, because we are so, all that old souls, when I look at my clientele, all that old souls are wishing for is a companion that they can walk with hand in hand, that is completely getting how we feel, is able to hold it, and we of course are doing the same with them. I want to mention something here that was also inspired by my dear friend and client yesterday. I'm going to leave you with this thought for this particular video. The woman in a relationship, or let's put it divine feminine and divine masculine, because males have feminine energy as much as feminine as women have masculine energy. That's why we have the two brain hemispheres. And if they want, if they are healthy flowing, they're connected with an A. This is actually how the energy is flowing through our body, because our left hemisphere of our body is connected to our right brain half. The right hemisphere, the left hemisphere is connected to the left, the right part of our body, sorry. So the right brain part, the right hemisphere is connected to the left side of our body. The left hemisphere is connected to the right side of our body. Okay. And so this is the same with the divine feminine and divine masculine. If the divine feminine and the divine masculine flow in harmony, this is what happens. The feminine acts like a conductor. Look at the orchestra. Look at a big, beautiful orchestra. The conductor is the divine feminine. It is the intuition that is guiding, and that is kind of like directing in a very gentle way. The male energy is the executor. It is the following of the gentle, intuitive conducting and executing. This is the harmony of the divine feminine and divine masculine. And you can actually activate this within yourself. I am a woman, you might be a woman, or you might be a man, whatever your gender is, whatever gender you chose, because we all choose our gender here on earth. You can start doing this with yourself. You let the divine feminine, your right hemisphere, be the conductive, intuitive energy, and you let the divine masculine be the executor of your intuition. And then my friend said, and what do they play? What music do they play? The music of God. So this is what I want to leave you with today. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please give it a like, subscribe, share. I am Doris Victoria, your personal empowerment, soul empowerment, or conscious millionaire coach. I'm doing a lot of kinds of coaching. And I love what I do because it's always about personal empowerment and about remembrance of who we truly are, so that we can live our life authentically and sovereign. All my love, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.